I want to read an article that recently came out that gives us shareholders insights into one of Palantir's moats and competitive advantages that no one really takes time to speak about. So you can see that Palantir posted this on X. The best time to get FedRAMP certified is 5 years ago. The second best time to do it is today. And that was a quote by the CEO at Manifest, which is a cybersecurity company. So we're going to read this article that they linked. But before we do that, let me just give you some background and context in case you've never heard of this before. Palantir is one of only 3 companies in the entire world with Impact Level 6 clearance, IL6 clearance. This means that Palantir's federal cloud service offering has received Department of Defense Impact Level 6 clearance. And this is the highest level of security clearance that can be granted to any cloud service provider. It is the highest of the highest. And this is just because Palantir have met the most rigorous security and compliance standards and are now authorized to work with US government entities for sensitive work. Now, alongside Impact Level, IL, another framework that is used is called FedRAMP. For a company to actually receive FedRAMP accreditation or IL5 accreditation, it is really difficult. It takes on average 18 months, and that is only once the process has actually started and a sponsor is in place. And it also costs a lot of money. We are talking $1 million on average for consultants and auditors alone. So this doesn't even include any engineering or opportunity costs for actually building the system. So it's very time extensive and it costs a lot of money. Then you would ask yourself, well, why would a company even bother with this if it takes so long and it's so expensive to get the accreditation? Well, it's because a lot of companies want to be able to provide software to the US government. That is, it's a big driver of growth for them. It's a big driver of revenue for them. And that is kind of what their business is set up to do. But they can't do that. They're not allowed to do that without these correct accreditations in place. But Palantir have a program called FedStart. You may have never heard about this program before. Like I said, it's not really spoken about that often. And this program that Palantir have, FedStart, creates a pathway for non-IL certified businesses to actually provide their software solutions to the government. If a company decides that they don't want to spend the $1 million and take 18 months on average to actually get the right accreditation, they can instead join Palantir's FedStart program. That means they don't have to do any of that hard work themselves. It kind of means they jump on a faster, less expensive, less difficult train to allow them to get their software to US government agencies faster, which is, like I said, what they want to do. So by joining this program that Palantir have, they are saving time and they're saving money. Time and money are arguably the 2 most important valued things of any business. So now let's read this article. Zero to FedRAMP in months. When cybersecurity company Manifest partnered with Palantir's FedStart program. So when cybersecurity company Manifest secured a contract with the US Department of Homeland Security that required federal accreditation, it turned to Palantir. Like I said, this is a necessity. You don't just opt in or opt out of having to have this accreditation. If you want to work with the US government and entities that fall under that, you have to have the right accreditation in place because the government is not going to allow you to give them your software if you're not accredited, because they work with the most important, most classified, the highest security information out there and data. Typically, the processes to obtain the requisite accreditation from the FedRAMP and from the impact level programs, which we've just discussed, are onerous and costly, often taking more than a year and require hiring outside firms, which can cost upwards of $1 million. And a lot of these companies that want to give their software to the US government are early on in their lifespan. They're startup companies. They don't have this money. They can't afford to do this. Manifest, a quickly growing startup that is actively working with agencies across the US government, sought a different approach. Palantir's FedStart, to cut through the red tape. FedStart allows companies to quickly accredit their software as a service solution, which is a requirement for selling US government agencies to US government agencies, by running their products within Palantir's secure and accredited environment. Because remember, Palantir have already done the legwork. They've already got the highest of the highs accreditation. Their environment is deemed safe and secure for US government and entities. Therefore, you can hop on this train and get a faster route to actually giving your software to the government. Significantly accelerating time to value and reducing paperwork and overhead. Yeah, once you sign on to Palantir's FedStart program, they take it all away from you. They do all the hard work because they know the process, they know it inside and out, and you don't have to worry about doing all the difficult day-to-day things that need to actually take place and all the massive amounts of paperwork that you need to submit to actually get the accreditation. So in this blog post, Manifest CEO Mark Frankel shares why Manifest signed up as a Palantir FedStart partner and describes the experience of joining the Palantir ecosystem. So the first thing here, I'm not going to read all of this, but he describes what Manifest is, and it's a security company focused on helping organizations and the US government secure their software supply chains by providing and analyzing the software bill of materials for the products that they build and buy. That was a mouthful. But I think this bit's really important. Software is essentially the only thing that's bought without consumer insight into what's in it. That's really, really important. Software is essentially the only thing that's bought without consumer insight into what's in it. You just trust blindly that the software is okay. Anyway, you can read through this if you want. Why were FedRAMP and impact level accreditations important? So the CEO said, even though Manifest is a small company, our platform is dual use and the supply chain visibility tools, and that's Department of Homeland Security, contracted us to deliver required us to be FedRAMP certified. Like I said, it's not an option. If you want to work with these organizations, you have to have accreditation. It is a necessity. We see massive opportunity in the federal, civilian, Department of Defense and defense industrial base verticals as they require SBOMs, which is what they're providing, from their third parties. Both being FedRAMP certified and IL level 5 compliant is a key part of serving these communities. And they are bothering with all this because that is how they grow their business, that is how they grow their revenue, that is literally what they're doing. But in order to do so, there is this big hurdle in place, and Palantir is taking away and easing that hurdle for these businesses. Why choose FedStart to become FedRAMP accredited, assuming that there's other options available? So he said, getting FedRAMP certified was not an optional thing for us. It was a hard and fast requirement in our Department of Homeland Security contract. So the contract literally said they have to have this, otherwise, go away, we'll find someone else. And a stipulation to work with a Fortune 500 defense contractor. And this is where all the money is going to come in, from these big companies and from these government organizations. So we made the decision to dedicate a meaningful percentage of our team to this undertaking. We chose Palantir because we had confidence in the Palantir team getting us through the accreditation process. We wanted that white glove treatment. We knew we would receive with its dedicated team of Deltas, which are forward deployed software engineers, and Echoes deployed strategists that would guide us through each step of the complex process. What was your experience like onboarding as a FedStart partner? The same day we signed on as a partner, we received incredibly comprehensive documentation detailing each step that we would be required to do in the process, including which steps have already been accomplished, and we also were introduced to a team that would help us get it right. We relied on and worked incredibly close with the FedStart team. We ended up with a contractual requirement from a defense contractor to speed up our FedRAMP accreditation process, so we set aggressive deadlines to get to the audit kickoff point within a few short months. That's a lot of time saved. So, on average, it takes about a year. That's a lot of time saved. On average, this takes 18 months. They are getting to the audit kickoff point within a few short months. There were a lot of late nights and early mornings as we ran towards getting up and running on the Palantir FedStart instance. We felt confident having committed guides alongside us. The process calls for very close coordination. When we had to do some modifications, for example, it was only by working in close concert with one another that we were able to make the adjustments seamlessly. So that makes it sound like they don't even think they would be able to do it without actually having Palantir's help. What advice would you offer others considering FedStart? Pursuing FedRAMP certification is an investment. For us at Manifest, it wasn't optional. I knew we had to pursue it, and in doing that, investing heavily in it because of its central role in our go-to-market GTM strategy. It would come at the cost of other investments. feature and back-end development velocity, and the opportunity cost for delivering new integrations and product capabilities. But it's important, and they are noticing that. The best time to get FedRAMP certified is 5 years ago. The second best time to do it is today. If your company has a validated business need, perhaps a milestone as a requirement in a contract, just do it as soon as you can. Don't do this on the margins, and don't think that you can chip away yourself at the requirements over the course of the year. Just get it done. So they're saying just don't bother doing it yourself. Like, just turn to Palantir and get help. Like, it's not worth doing it. The stress, the time, the money, the difficulty, and ultimately you're doing this to get more money, so just get it done. Make the investment. How has FedStart benefited your business? Thanks to FedStart, we are now FedRAMP compliant, and we are beginning to benefit from the validation already. Some of our defense contractor customers have made FedRAMP part of vendor due diligence, and we've unlocked that credibility and have been able to meet that need. While we are small, our Fortune 500 and public sector customers demand that we comport ourselves, I've never heard that, with the most stringent deployment certifications. We are able to meet the Department of Homeland Security contractual security requirements, and FedStart enables us to go after additional federal opportunities. I know that was quite a long article, and I know there was lots of buzzwords in there that are a bit confusing, but all you need to know is that Palantir have this offering that is going to help many businesses. There are a lot of businesses out there, whether they're startups or established businesses, that want to work with the US government and US government entities and those Fortune 500 defense contractors. Without the accreditation in place, they are not able to do that. That is going to shut them off from a lot of revenue in the future and from, what they ultimately want to be doing with their business. So they have to do this. It's a necessity. If they want to go about it on their own, they take on a massive headache, lots of paperwork, lots of stress. It's very, very time consuming. They're going to have to put resources into it, and it's costly, money that they often don't have. Palantir have the perfect solution, FedStart, a program whereby they will literally get you from point A to point B very quickly and without all that stress. They will help you along the way. Now, there is not much competition for Palantir. Like I said, they are one of only 3 IL Level 6 certified companies. And there's not many other companies actually offering a program that directly competes with FedStart, from my understanding. This gives Palantir a perfect competitive edge and a perfect moat. And I only expect to see that they carry on increasing their FedStart partners as time goes on. If you want to watch these episodes ad-free, get exclusive and extended content and a bunch of other perks, become an insider of the Inner Circle Vault. Link in the description.